a John Dramani Mahama and not any other person on December 7th?
Absolutely. Thank you. And let me say good morning to everybody doing the listening this morning. It must be His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and no one else. Permit me to share with you some of his achievements as Vice President and President. As Vice President, there's a saying from where I come from that Akwa ensini Ura, to wit, the servant can never be greater than the Lord. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama served as Vice President to the late Professor John Fifi Atta Mills. Everything His Excellency John Mills achieved, you cannot take President Mahama out of it. But President Mahama was not that loud-mouthed vice president who would go to town and expose his lord or his boss that I did this, I did that, I did that. What to achieve what? You are one ticket. So let me remind our listeners that under Professor Mills, with John Dramani Mahama as the vice president, Ghana had the highest growth, 14.4%. And then the longest single-digit inflation, 31 months, at around 8.8. The longest, 31 months. Do you know what that means? Stability of the economy. You go to town and you buy something, 2 years on, you go and the price is still same. This is not what we see today. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama inherited the presidency from the late Professor Mills. At the time we had power crisis. Note, today we term it as Dumso. Under His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, Ghana suffered Dumso twice. He was able to resolve it. We can cast our minds back. In the 90s, we had Abuade power plant, thermal plant. That was when we had to move to thermal. We know it's expensive, but it stabilized our system. President Kufuor came, there was Dumso. I know anytime I mention this, whenever Papa Kufuor, I admire him so much. He's all proud when it comes to how he handled the energy sector. There was Dumso. He brought some machines. Dr. Reku Brobe described it as toy machines. Dr. Reku Brobe is a founding member of the MPP and was the head of the VRE at that time. Now, the second thing President Kufuor did to resolve Dumso was to send pastors, some of whom are still alive. And this cathedral brouhaha, they started with them. Today, some of them have left. They've seen the scam of a project that Nanado led them into. They went to Akosomo and stretched their hands. It did not solve Dumso. So you realize that demand outstripped supply. And Professor Mills, when he came with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, these are some of the things they did. Ensuring that we have oil fields. Instead of going to buy gas, some from Nigeria and other areas, let's ensure that there's a plant to process our gas. That is Atuabo gas. The legacy of Professor Mills and John Dramani Mahama. Having our own gas. When John Dramani Mahama took over, brought in the private sector that brought their plants. We can talk of car power, 2 badges. We can talk of Ameri and other plants, Tapco, and then the one Asogli. All of them came on board and they were supported. He solved Dumso. To quote the flag bearer of the MPP today, he said, if the NDC created the Dumso crisis and they solve it, they don't deserve any applause. You see the hypocrisy? How did John Mahama and the NDC create Dumso? can we say President Kufuor, his time, he also created Dumso? This is the insincerity of the group called MPP. Now, John Dramani Mahama, with the sectors like education, he did tremendously well by ensuring that we had new universities. We can talk of a university for renewable resources, and then university for allied sciences, Sunyani or Techiman, the other one is it Techiman, and then Volta region, and also initiated one for Somenya. He turned polytechnics into a university. He had to upgrade them. When it comes to the secondary level, he introduced in 2015 progressively free education that ensured that over 300,000 day school students were given some respite from the government. And then also saw that now that we are moving towards free education, we have started it progressively. The numbers automatically will go up. So let's expand our infrastructure. So initiated the building of 200 e-blocks for communities. So there will be maybe 5 communities here. Then there is a secondary school. So instead of always going to Accra, Cape Coast, and the North for secondary education, you can also have access to education in your community. When he was leaving office, 123 were at various stages. Per the report of the World Bank, 49 were completed, out of which the World Bank supported us with 25, and the total completed e-blocks were 49. I can even quote Napo when he became the minister and went to parliament. Now, water is life. Unlike today that we have the MPP, the elephants. I like their song. Permit me to just do a line. They are the new patriotic party. They are the new patriotic party. The elephant is an animal. Or did I get it wrong? Is the elephant not an animal?
It's an animal.
Thank you. So that's what I know. Okay. They have decided to destroy. Right? I've given you a pen. You have book, right? They have decided to destroy our forests and our river bodies. You know, when the elephant enters the forest or even in your waters, it will be stamping in it and ensure that water turns into mud. Mm-hmm. That is yes, that is exactly what we see today. But His Excellency John Dramani Mahama knew that water is life. Whoever destroys your water destroys your life. Note that the MPP under Nanado and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia have destroyed our water, and for that they do not deserve another chance at the presidency. Don't forget. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama with water ensured that there's the Teshi desalination plant, the Spone Water Expansion Project. We have the ATMA project that expanded access to urban water supply in the capital, Accra. There's the Wa Water Supply Project. There's also the 3Ks project covering Kumewu, Konongo, and then Kwawu. All this to give life to people, water. Note, Mampong also benefited from potable drinking water. When it comes to roads and transport, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did extremely well, ensuring that Achimota of Anko Road Project, our Shipokuya say, Sofo line, you know, President Kufuor started it. President Mills, President Mahama also ensured that it got to a certain state. There's also Tetekwashi Adenta, the road project, Kasua overhead bridge, Kwame Nkrumah interchange. It's amazing. When even we come to Ashanti region, many areas enjoyed their share. I can talk of the Tech Campus, Complex Quada, so a whole lot of areas. And then let me also quickly run to another project when it comes to the railway sector, construction, railway and aviation. Construction of the Terminal 3, T3 the Kotoka International Airport. How many presidents in our history have built airports? The MPP has none to their credit. Talk of President Kufuor, talk of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. President Mahama also ensured that in Ashanti region, we lift Kumasi to that international status by ensuring that the things that they needed, and also secured funds for the phase 2 of the Kumasi International Airport. When it comes to business, you know, the NDC have so much regard for the Ghanaian women. Whilst we are giving them the first.
Majority, you have 5 minutes more.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have amazing respect for women. So we have so many first. Today we have a female vice president in waiting, our running mate, Professor Nana Genopoku Ajeman. We ensured that we had the first female Speaker of Parliament, first Electoral Commission boss. And then let me come to business. You know, our women, a lot of them are into business. In the Ashanti region, we gave Kejetia. Cape Coast, we had Kotokraba. So are other regional capitals. Whilst every district, there was a market that was built. When it comes to the economy, I would like to use the 4 minutes left on the economy. The NDC ensured that in 8 years, the dollar that we took from President Kufuor, the exchange rate 1.2. In 8 years, we left it at 4.2. Me as a businessman, anytime a peso is added to the dollar, it affects. But certainly, the NDC performed extremely well. At 4 cedis, 4.2 in 2016. Today, the MPP, it's around 17 cedis. As bad as it can be. When it comes to inflation, the NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, left the inflation at 15.7. In 2022, under the mismanagement of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the head of the economic mismanagement team, they had Professor Jan Bafo, Alan Chremantin, Kennedy Akwampreko, or he was not part of it. Okay, 2022, he went to 54.3. Very bad. Today is around 21%, and I know it's going up. A debt to our debt, country's debt, John Dramani Mahama left it at 120.2 billion. Today, under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, it is at 761.4 billion. Check it. And then the effect of this huge debt brought about the fact that we could not service our debt. It brought also the hardships and the pain on our pensioners, bondholders, and there was the introduction of domestic debt exchange program, and they went also to the foreign market. Let us note that they have been blocked. They were blocked. They borrowed without, that is reckless borrowing. Now,
and currently,
growth rate. President John Dramani Mahama, even the vice president, I've mentioned the growth rate, which was around 40. Let's look at our environment. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama,
you have 2 minutes,
has a lot to say when it comes to our environment. I've heard Nana Addo saying that John Dramani Mahama must say something about Galamsey, and some also calling him to come and sign a pact or something. John Dramani Mahama has been a president before. How did he leave the state of our forests? How did he leave the nature of our river bodies? For me, he doesn't have to tell me anything. I know how River Pra was when he was leaving office, and today I know how it is under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama doesn't have to say anything to convince the ones who have failed woefully to ensure that our environments are preserved. Now, let us also state here and now that when it comes to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, even at the health sector, he ensured that Ghana had ultra-modern hospitals, 37, Legon, and the rest. Today, we can boast of Bekwai, we can go to Kumewu, Tepa, Formina, a lot to boast of. So for me, if not anything,
okay,
let's look at even the records of corruption. Corruption is key when it comes to elections. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, his worst score was 43. You know the highest score of Nanado and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia combined?
Tell us.
43. So John Dramani Mahama's worst for 8 years is the best of Nanado and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 43. Okay. So on corruption, on environment, health, education, the track record of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is as solid as gold, as solid as anything. And John Dramani Mahama comes to the table with humility and sincerity of heart.
Fred, and biggest thought on the same subject matter, but